Well, the fancy lights in the corner at the coffee bar aren't on, but they redid the waiting room. It came out real good. They did a nice job. Well, that don't sound right. Let's go get the coffee out of the taco and get this day fired up. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. We're not here for compressor issues or for getting coffee, but we're gonna get in that shop and we're gonna get some things done today. We'll probably be trying to finish this today, I'm guessing. We're light staffed today. Joe and Katie are off. It's me, Paul, Bill, and Riley. So we'll see what happens. We got a light parking lot this morning. We got an 88 Cadillac. And we got a 62 C10 project truck. And we got some nice sunshine. Oh, nice. So now you can even see the project truck a little better. It does have an engine in it. Some people ask, does it run? Actually, it runs really good. The engine's strong. The main reason I bought the truck was the engine was already done and they put a 5-speed in it. They already had disc brake conversion, power brakes. I didn't realize how rusty it was. Boy, I'm getting frustrated with that. But I got 2 doors left to do. And then all the fabrication stuff's over, except for putting the air conditioning in is going to require a little fabrication. Anyway, we're also not here for that. Shop's just about opened up. You know what I'm going to do is I'm going to row. I'm going to make it work. And hopefully everybody wins. Let's try to learn something. Let's have some fun. I guarantee you we're going to do both. Stay tuned. Your phone's ringing. You guys might remember this one. 2017 phone ring. I mean Hyundai. This has the leaking heater hoses and stuff. He came back for the heater hoses, and we're gonna change the oil. Let's go get the phone and get started. We're gonna use Joe's rack today, and we're gonna. The heck. Kind of pulls the safety off, doesn't it? Anyway, it's a little low, and it's also hot. So I can't really open the cooling system yet. Maybe I'll drop the oil and filter and get some oil in it and let it cool down 15-20 minutes. I think that's a good plan. They said the neighbors cut their tires and they just rolled it down the driveway and the tires came off the wheel. Then they realized they were flat. Kind of strange. Air filter was changed last time, I think. That's a little tight. That's what you're gonna do. Don't worry. My trusty Knipex Hyundai oil filter tool will get it. Nothing but a thing chipping in. Still gotta find that rascally drain plug. I think it's in this hole back here. I'm not gonna take that splash pan down unless I have to. Most cars have some kind of access, but not all. Looks like about a 17 on the drain plug. What do you think? That look like a 17? Alright. That's going to be a little bit of a pickle juicer tester. Anytime that happens, it's either dragging on the gasket because the gasket's stuck to the pan and not the drain plug, or the threads are boogered up. So, you gotta look for both. Your drain plug gasket, and this thing's like a brand new car. Well, you gotta do heater hoses too. Once I, it's gonna need oil, right? Gotta air up the tires too. Almost forgot. Rookie. Oh, we haven't poured dinosaur blood in a while. We haven't poured it in a while. This is 4.2 quarts of the finest dinosaur blood money can buy. Look how golden delicious that is. That's beautiful. This funnel fits real tight in the valve cover, so you can pour it a little fast. If it backs up a little, it won't hurt anything. It's not going to leak because the funnel's in there tight. I'm guessing Hyundai did that on purpose. They were like, you know what, let's match this to Jimmy's funnel. That's probably exactly how it went. Gotta give him almost every drop. Almost. Alright. That looks perfect to me. The oil actually looks a little dirty already because the engine probably skips oil changes every now and then. He's been taking care of it lately, I guess, because this is like the third oil change we've done for him since he started coming here. But the oil is all carboned up in the motor. It takes quite a few oil changes to get that stuff out, and you actually have to do them a little earlier to get rid of it and clean everything up. But we're not doing that. But it is going to help a little bit. Well, that's a shame. I don't know what that hose goes to. It's not a heater hose. And same for this. I don't know where this one goes. Some kind of bypass hose. I don't know where it goes. Alright, so we got the wrong hoses. Let's go let them know. We may not be doing the heater hoses today if they're not really available. I can't believe O'Reilly's messed up. Me personally, I'd have got them from Hyundai. Row your boat. Well, he's trying to tell me that they're not available, but I think he means not available from O'Reilly's. They want to use bulk hose, so I got to take the original hose off and see. I think it'll probably be okay. I better leave a little extra slack in it. There's not much in there sharp or anything like that, so we got to pull it off and see what sizes it is for sure. It looks like about 16 millimeter or so, but we'll see. 5/8. I think this will reach down there and get that clamp off for me. All right, you. All right. And the top one at the heater core is the other end of it. Uh-oh. Get on there, come on. There's not really a lot going on today because I film my videos ahead so I have time to edit them and all. And so tomorrow's 4th of July when I'm recording or taping or videoing. So it's kind of slow because of the holiday. And we're light staffed, so they didn't schedule much. So I'm guessing if I can get a bulk hose on here and get this done, I'll go back on that old Cadillac. Once you get it to break loose, you can pull it off without hurting the heater core. That's the goal. You're gonna use a piece of straight hose instead of that. That'll be fine. O'Reilly's website says use bulk hose. Okay, we can make it work. Not really liking the tension on that. It fits, but it's not wonderbar. I might have to go to a worm clamp, which I hate. That's like a last resort. We'll see how tight it is if I put this on and I can turn it or anything by hand. Obviously, I'm gonna have to pressure test it. Sometimes you get in a rush and you let the engine warm up and make sure it's not leaking afterwards, at least. But then the engine's gonna be hot. Yeah, see, I can turn that because the rubber's a little thin compared to the original hose. The casing's thinner. So this clamp's really not squeezing it. I'll have to get some worm clamps. You wanna make it work? We'll make it work. Now it should be good length. I think we're pretty good. I think that'll work. I got that in there. No kinks or anything. I left the squeeze clamps on the hose too. Someday if they put the correct molded hose on it, the squeeze clamps will be there. They're still in good shape. Although it was letting this one leak. I don't see any piercings in the hose. I think the clamp just maybe wasn't quite tight enough. So maybe I'm wrong about saving the clamps, but better to err on the side of caution. Should be about the right height. That's easy to shape the same. Piece of cake. This job's easy. Anybody could be a mechanic. I'm going to put straight coolant in it mostly because it's been adding water. So I'm at least going to put like 70-30 coolant to water. It is dropping. Drop it like it's hot. Very little coolant came out when I pulled that hose off, FYI. On a magical mystery tour. That's cool. Have to slow-mo that a little bit, what do you think? I'm like, dude, that's trippy, bro. Alright, we'll let that cook a little bit. Fire it up. Make sure there's no air pockets. And this one basically will be done. Alright, now we gotta verify our repair. Got warm air off the radiator. Shut this thing down, button it up, take it for a drive. And then we'll see what's next. Well, we're getting ready to get back on this Cadillac. I got this little bracket on that braces the compressor bracket. There's like 7 brackets on the compressor. And this bracket, I'm sitting here going, where the heck did I get that from? And then I realized, well, look at the space in the alternator between its primary bracket, and I've got a bolt I left here. And this obviously gets a bolt threaded into it, right? So it makes sense. What's kind of weird though is on a different angle than the other bracket. But as long as this is allowed to pivot, that won't matter because it'll slide up and just adjust this bracket as it pivots, right? At least that's the theory in the engineering department. So I'm going to connect the alternator bolt that goes through both brackets before I thread that end in. That's the theory. I got lots of theories. All right, you. They used aluminum and they were like, oh my god, this aluminum can't possibly hold it. Let's add some steel. We'll just make the primary bracket out of steel now. That's how they did things in the 80s. Very complicated, over-engineered. They weren't willing to simplify things yet. They thought it had to be complicated to work. They were really bad about it in the 80s. They've gotten better lately, but of course now they're going the other end of the spectrum, back to complicated again. I think it just makes them feel better at some point. Like they're going above and beyond to make something good. As I said before, cars are better than ever. I think. Some people don't agree, but think of how much is going on in a modern vehicle compared to the old days when you were lucky if you had power steering as an option, and how reliable they are. We see cars 200,000 to 300,000 miles all the time. That's how I'm looking at it. I used to work with a guy, and he used to just take these kinds of brackets, just throw them in the garbage. And I'd go behind them, take them out of the garbage, and show them where they go. That's in, that's in. Let me get a piece of wire in that real quick. When we come back, we'll be putting the carburetor on. You gotta stay up there. There's no studs for the gasket, so you gotta just line up the bolts and the gasket, and then line up the whole thing mabob. Get the manifold. Get that fuel line started too, that'd be good. 2 back bolts. There is a brake booster hose, I gotta get that. That's gonna be next. Right after we get the phone. You don't want to tighten one of these a lot. You see the carburetor move, you go across to the other one. See it move, go across the other one. Keep going around. You've got the carburetor bolts all snug down, and I look up the torque specs, but it's probably somewhere around 10 foot-pounds or so. They don't get very, very tight. You're squeezing aluminum cases, so you really don't want to get too crazy. And you definitely want to answer the phone. Another little fun fact, GM V8s, Buick, Olds, Pontiac. Well, I shouldn't say Buick. I know Olds, Pontiac, and Chevrolet. The firing order is 183465572, and the wires are always like this: 2 apart, 2 together for left bank, and then the right bank is 2 apart and 2 together. So it just works out that way. I don't know if they did that on purpose, but it's super handy. There's a red Sharpie on cylinder 1 right there. And I know the firing order is counterclockwise 184365572. Piece of cake, man. I gotta get a piece of rubber for this before I move on. I'm gonna do something that Joe sold apparently next and stop on this. So let me get a piece of rubber on that so I don't get sidetracked and forget about it. No, there is another vacuum line in the back here, so I'll be back here again in this area, but I won't rest easy till I put a piece of rubber on. Let's put it that way. Heavy Chevy. And the reason I know is because when you push them, they weigh a lot. Got dead battery, a weak battery, setting a bunch of weird codes, most likely because of the battery. What the heck's going on here? Joe must have done a smoke test or something on it. He sold a purge valve, so I just got to figure out what's going on. There's an engine cover for it. Purge valve, evac, and recharge, and a battery. That's basically the bottom line. 2018. My goodness gracious. 105,741 miles. Shit, it. the love rating's actually going to be a 6. It's pretty, maybe, should I go 7? This thing, yeah, look at that. There's just a little dust. I mean, that's pretty good. 7. Might probably even be closing in on 8. What do you guys think? Should I be generous and go 8? 5 years old, pretty clean. I like it. I like to see that. Let's get out here and do some work. What do you say? The love rating is locked in at 7.5. That's what I'm going with. It's kind of good. Joe took today off. I get modern cars now. It's like this ticket pays 3.5 hours, and it'll take about an hour. It pays half what the Cadillac pays that I've been working on since Friday morning. All right, battery just got here. Purge valve got here. Look at that thing. Oh yeah, made in the USA. Whoa. This is a 1234 YF, so the evac and recharge, I'm gonna start first. Get the machine going on that while we pop in some stuff. The longest thing will be to let the machine do its thing. Everything else won't be long at all. Alright. This thing's gonna boot up. It's gonna show me a cool picture of a dude working on it. And let's give this thing a minute. Even starting it up takes a couple of minutes. Just to let you know you're in for a ride. Like going to Disney. The adventure only takes a minute. The process takes hours. Alright, we'll let the machine and the Traverse dance, and we'll pop the battery in. Joe's already got the cover off there for me. I really appreciate that. 10, 10, 10, 10. And 13. So this isn't enough. They decided, man, this hold down is just not going to cut it. Let's put more of them on there. I wonder if there's like 2 or 3. I saw all the 10s. I was like, oh wow, this thing comes out that easy? I should have known better. We're going to get it taken care of, no big deal. They can make them as complicated as they want. What really bothers me the most about all that, it's not that it's complicated. I mean, that's better for me because people aren't going to want to work on their own cars if it's really complicated, right? It benefits the mechanics, but I feel bad that things get so complicated they get expensive because time is money, right? So I really don't like that part of it. Some batteries on some of these cars are like 45 minutes late. This will come out of here somewhere. Oh, there it is. Looks like these 2 cables have to come off and pull this off. I got to get a 13 for the extra hold down anyway. All right, all 4 of you, get out. Apparently, if you take this off, both sides, then you can lift this off, and everybody's happy. Well, the engineers are on it. Oh my goodness gracious, I'm saying. And this has got stop start and cool stuff like that. So the battery's extra heavy because it's got extra capacity, which translates to weight. Just to get it back there in place as best I can. Now we just got to reassemble it. What's the problem? It should be easy, right? Just the battery. And I don't know what is going on with my channel this week or the past week and a half or so on YouTube, but my subscriber gains are down 30%. My views are down 30%, and my watch time's down 30%. But I'm uploading the same content. You guys tell me if are my videos getting worse? Am I complaining too much? Singing too often or goofing around too often? Or I'm not sure what I could do different. I thought I was having fun, doing a pretty good job. We were all hanging out together. And now people have been telling me that their comments are being deleted. Which I'm not deleting them. I mean, I don't delete anything except the most people put some dumb comments up, but most of the time I point and laugh at them. I don't delete them unless they're really vulgar or threatening or anything like that. But for the most part, I leave them up. I let them ride. So I don't know. I'm not sure what's going on, guys. I apologize if it's affecting your comments, but let me know. I just gotta snake this all under here. This sits in a slot apparently, and this hold down goes in front. There's another thing where you can't over tighten them. You got to be careful. You don't want to crush it down so it's flat, there's no gap. You want to tighten it until you can't move the post in a little bit more. Let's see if we can find that purge valve and take care of that. That's the purge valve right down here. I just got to find a way to get to it without my little step slipping out from under me over and over again. There should be a 10 that goes this way, and then the purge valve pops out of the intake. Might have to take the air inlet off, make it a little easier. Tight squeeze, but I know it fits out of there. Purge hose like that. Now, I just have to find my little 10. There it is. A 10 on a little electric ratchet. Feels like it's loosened up all the way. Oh, wait, is he taking a truck? Oh, the big monster truck is getting ready to hit the road. Okay, now we got to take note on how that's assembled. I mean, they don't even go through the trouble to put the O-ring on there for you. I don't know why, but it's all right. That's all right. We'll work it out. Now this just sits in the bushing here, and this is what actually holds it on. I think they just don't want it to wiggle and snap this off, I'm guessing. There it goes. Okay. Oh, you probably can't see, it's blowing out, the contrast too high. All right, let me pop this back together. I'm gonna put a little engine oil on here, just a tiny little bit on the tip of my finger, so it goes in the manifold easier. The end he had off was to check for vacuum, I'm guessing, on the other side. Put that back on. I gotta put the cover on still. Alright, now you get in there. Ready. Couple of hose clamps. Again, don't over tighten those and destroy them. Well, I've seen these all ripped up from being cranked down. Once it compresses, the little hinge doohickey goes right up in there. Oh, it's ringing! Alright, this is about ready to get fired up here. Under a vacuum. I'm going to put an automatic now, fill out this information, and it should do everything for me, right? It said something about an error in the identifier. I just hit cancel. It didn't say there was an error in the refrigerant that was in it, just that there was something going on with the machine, which is usually just a software anomaly. Sometimes I'll turn it off and back on and it goes away. I got the machine cooking. Give that a few minutes to dance, and then we'll come back in about an hour and a half. Funny story while we got a minute. The guy with that old F350 spent a lot of money doing that engine and the brakes and some other things we did with it, testing and stuff. You saw the truck was a little beat up. It wasn't perfect. It's not nowhere near brand new. It's got a lot of stuff going on with the body and the interior and other things. But he said that we damaged his doors and his hood, and so it begins. We pulled it around the parking lot for him. He came to pick it up and started looking it over and said we damaged some stuff. They keep taking these old cars. I guess it's supposed to be fill work, but I apologize if you have an old car. It's not a dig on people with old cars, but 4 out of 5 times is a problem. Someone with this 2018, 2019s, they fix them, they leave, everyone is happy. Work on them old cars, people are back here mad we didn't do something, or ever since we worked on it, something else happened, now, you know, and you're mad. Generally, the reason people are driving really old cars is because they don't want to spend any money. So when things go wrong, they're going to find a way to that someone did it, so they don't have to pay for it. The biggest problem, though, even more than that, that's only a fraction of it. The biggest problem is the parts. We used to be able to get good replacement parts, but these cars from the 80s and 90s, those parts are dried up, and the cash for clunkers wiped out the salvage yards. So now you have to resort to Chinese-made parts, if they're available at all. It's Chinese-made, which isn't necessarily bad. I've seen good Chinese parts, but there are also some very sketchy ones, and it's hard to tell them apart just looking at the surface. You don't know till you install them, and then 3 months later they're already not working. So Just a tough deal, man. I think all shops are experiencing the same things right now. You guys let me know in the comments if you're a mechanic and you're seeing a lot of older cars, hard to get parts for, higher expectations, defective parts, prices are going up. I mean, it's getting kind of crazy. It's funny how some people say everything's perfect, nothing to worry about, and other people go, it's doomsday. It's probably somewhere in the middle. Still cooking. Ooh, it's so exciting. We got Freon. It's not quite done yet, but we're close. Now we're just recovering the hoses. It's saying it got 3/10 of a pound almost out of the hoses alone. Let's fire this thing up, see how chilly it is in there. Brr. Oh, it definitely cranks up a lot nicer. It had kind of a delayed crank and all the lights would come on the dash. So the lights all seem to have gone out on their own. I was assuming I was going to have to get the scanner to clear them off. Maybe I'll get it just to, because it's probably got a lot of battery codes that's set from a bad battery. So I think I'll grab the scanner just to make sure. I'm going to back this up a little bit so I don't have to worry about getting in and out with the door hitting the post. And we'll grab the scanner. Steering assist is reduced. Drive with care. Uh-oh. Alright, I'm not much of a gambling man, but it still reminds me of a slot machine. Well, let's go through and see what we got for codes. I'm going to verify whether they're voltage related or not. I'll send a report just in case so we have a record. Then I'll clear them out and we'll see if any return. Alright, cleared out like 18 codes. 2 of them came back. It asked me to roll the window up and down and it went to a normal screen. So now we'll let Paul take it for a drive and we'll see what's next. Got to sneak this cruise control solenoid dealio. And there's a stud down here you want it on. And oh, I gotta slip this in there too before I get too carried away. Alright. There's 3 bolts holding it on. Once I get it mounted up, I'll put this clip in whatever hole is lined up closest to the bushing, because that's how it pulls the throttle or holds the throttle on. Back in the day, they didn't have a way to move the throttle, so this vacuum servo would, wherever you set the cruise, the vacuum would hold it in place. And it would actually increase and decrease vacuum based on how it pulsed the solenoid that runs vacuum to it. They use an electric solenoid to turn the vacuum on and off, and the duty cycle of the solenoid controls how much vacuum it sees and whether it lets the throttle off or pulls it on. It's similar to today. Today's just an electrically activated throttle blade. Same way it controls your idle, it controls your cruise speeds and stuff. It's a lot simpler. There's way less going on in a modern car when it comes to that. This is one of those vacuum hoses I was going, where the heck does that go? But as you start adding stuff, all of a sudden, it makes sense. And I remember pulling it off of here, trying not to break this special fitting. This electrical connector, I believe, is the mixture control solenoid dealio. Where else? What else? We're getting somewhere now, though. Running out of stuff. Uh-oh. It's all in the positioning of the clamp. Got to put it in just the right spot so it doesn't rub the belt. It's got to be low enough. That little hose nipple is only about 3/4 of an inch high.
You say it's impossible to switch left to right, or it's just gonna take.
Got to make sure it's on there just right.
Put it back together.
Gonna roll this thing forward so I can get it in the air and change the hurdle before I start it. It was a little too far back. This thing's way too long for me to leave that much hanging off the back. Let's see if we can get it up. Well, if I say they've never changed that oil filter, that would be a negative. But I could say a positive, like, at least it's not the original oil filter. It's a little better, right? Let's get the 88 Cadillac oil filter tool and change out this filter. The drain plug, I'm not too sure about it. I'm kind of scared, but it's not going to stop me. I'll just be scared while I'm taking it out, that's all. It's still coming out of there. What do you guys think's going to happen? Oh, you know what it is? It's just a fiber drain plug washer that's badly deformed. Alright, I'm going to spray off some of this oil too, so at least it won't drip for the first week or two. or at least a couple days. I think I want to say I recommended an engine pull and reseal on this thing. I've already cleaned the front a little bit while I was working on it, but the back I haven't got to yet, so we'll do it after we're done with the oil and filter. Alright, that's going to be like a 5/8 on the plug. Uh-oh. Translates to a 16 for you whippersnappers. If you were born after 1985 or so, it's a 16 millimeter, I guess. I gotta see if we're gonna have a gasket for this thing. Ooh, that is some good looking oil, man. Nothing wrong with that at all. I can still see through it. That's good. Well, that old drain plug gasket was cracked. I don't have a gasket like that. It's kind of strange looking. But I got one that's close. The threads look the same. We'll see if it'll fit in there. But it's not done dripping yet. I'm gonna give him his money's worth. We're gonna get as much of that old oil out as possible. Alright, you're gonna make me refill my brake dispenser, aren't you? That's an extra 5-10 cents. That's good stuff. That is good stuff. Come on now. Just need a little more. I gotta go get another can. Dang it. It's awful quiet in the shop today. Gotta make sure there's no air left in it. Pop off the big nut. Don't lose your little washer. Gasket. What happened to the... Oh, there it is. That makes sense. We'll put it over on the other one. Okay. Now we got a pumperdoodle, a pumpernickel. We got a pumperdoodle, the pumpernickel. Or the, I don't know what it's called. It leaks a little bit when you're pumping it. That's all right. A little bit of cancer. That's okay. Don't worry about it. Mechanics are expendable. No big deal. We'll just get another one. Always been that way. And that's that. So you can pump your own oil, pump your own brake clean, pump your own transmission fluid. Oh man. Now, see what I'm talking about? Now we're going to have a clean lower engine area. It won't take all the heavy stuff off, but it'll take the oil, and some of the light dirt will drip off with the brake clean. It doesn't make it spotless, but it definitely dries everything out, and you can work in the area without getting quite so nasty. The bad thing is it will take the print off an oil filter, and then it makes it look like an old oil filter. But that's alright. I'm going to clean this up good, and that way when we give it back to them, it won't be dripping. Sometimes they see old oil and they go, it's still dripping. But we fixed the majority of the leaks starting from the top. The next one will probably be this timing cover, an oil pan, and a rear main seal. But we'll see. I got to get the oil. I think this is getting 5:30. I'm not sure. I got to double check it. Oh, you notice it's kind of quiet in here? But it's not because anyone's hiding or having a meeting I don't know about. It's because today I'm actually the only one here. Joe's off, Katie's off, Bill left early. And, well, I don't know where Paul and Riley are. I'm not sure. They could be almost anywhere. Probably doing paperwork, tightening up loose ends, emptying the garbage, getting things ready for when we come back Wednesday. I'm not really sure. Oh, there's only going to be 4 videos this week. I apologize. I might pull one of the repairs out if I have enough. Sometimes when I'm editing, I have an hour and a half worth of clips to edit down to about 30 to 45 minutes. And if I pull one of them repairs out, I can have another video for another day. You guys let me know in the comments what I should have done. It's probably too late by the time you're seeing this video. Let's get some oil for this thing. got the big mouth oil container. Uh-oh. That thing is sort of running. 1030, high mileage. One of the bottles, a couple of bottles in there. They're branded like 95% of the product you see every day in lives. I watched the video today. This guy does the grocery stores who sells all the different brands. And basically like 3 companies sell 95% of the stuff in every grocery store you go into in the world. And he was doing Home Depot. I didn't realize Home Depot is the 18th largest company in the world. Number 18. That is huge. Bigger than Pfizer, the pharmaceutical company. Home Depot. And he talked about Ryobi and DeWalt and Porter Cable and all, and Milwaukee and Makita. I guess Makita was the only brand that wasn't owned by one of the giant mega corporations. It's owned by a Japanese company. So, pretty interesting. He thought Ryobi was the class of the field, the best brand at Home Depot. It shows you that he's really not into tools. I like my Ryobi yard tools, have been good, but their electric tools leave a little to be desired in the repair shop. But their yard tools are pretty good. Alright, I'm going to fire this up momentarily. I don't have any coolant in it yet, or I didn't fill it. It's got coolant in the block. It's down below the intake. I'll fire it up real quick, see how it runs, and then I'll put the coolant in if it runs good. So we'll pop that battery cable on there real quick. That's good. See what this thing does. Let's put some antifreeze in this thing. Oh, I wanted to mention too, the older cars, some new ones, have a emissions hose or vacuum hose routing diagram, which is pretty useful if you know what all the abbreviations stand for. You can look them up one by one. You can also find vacuum schematics on like Identifix and all that. And I think even for these older cars, especially, because there's so many vacuum hoses. And I found like this hose doesn't hook to anything. There's a couple of hoses that weren't connected that I tried to put where they go according to the diagram. And I replaced about 6 or 7 of them that were broken. Seems to run okay. I ran it only for about 30 seconds a minute. Get some antifreeze in this thing and stop yapping. Drink up, my sweet girl. Oh, that's terrible news. Thermostat's leaking. That's a bummer. Yeah, we're going to have to pull that back apart. Well, that's where we're ending it on the leaking thermostat. Hasn't left, come back. So I'm going to drain the coolant back out of it and start pulling that apart. But it's the end of the day. Calling it here. I'm throwing in the towel, waving the white flag. The Realist YouTube channel on the YouTube. Thanks for watching. I hope you have an awesome day. I hope you'll torque the like button on your way out since there's no charge. As a matter of fact, right now it's buy one, get one free. You can torque the like button and subscribe, no charge. See you in the next video. You're awesome.